Welcome to Assimilating Knowledge. Today's guest is the owner of Nine Realms Publishing and creator of Elysian Fields, The Embrace, and SPQR's Bizarre Adventure. Please welcome Michael Oden.
Why? That is just a tremendously professional introduction. I am not used to that shit.
Well, it was there was supposed to be an applause there, but apparently the Lollipop Gang kind of falls short of duties, but that is what it is. Moving on. Michael, what's happening, man? It's been a minute since because I think I first met you in the back room of the gutter.
Yeah, no, that was certainly our first little intro. Like I saw you in the chat there. So like I do this whole thing where like I go and I do a book, I go out and I promote, and I go pretty hard on the promotion track, and I like burn myself out. And so by the time the campaign ends, like, all right, time to focus on finishing the book, getting the fulfillment done, getting it to the customers. And I just use that time to decompress, get away from everything. And when I come back, there's a whole bunch of new people, which is great. And then there's also like 3 nuclear storms that have happened since I've been gone. And so it's just like, oh, well, this is fun. What happened? And it's always entertaining getting like everybody's little perspectives on things. But I see at least Snuggy Jr. hasn't changed. Kick Ogden, that's been consistent for at least 5 years. So
no, Snuggy Jr. has not changed even one bit. And I tell you, man, I prepared so much for this interview. And then it was about 2 hours before showtime. I was just double checking a few things. And you are not Michael M. Oden.
No, I am not.
The behavioral therapist, keynote speaker even. Man, I was all excited. I had his whole life down. I was ready to go. But that's not you. So
no, unfortunately not. I would love to be a renowned person in my field, but apparently that in this field, that means getting into squabbles and screwing over your backers. So anyways.
So I guess the closest you would be to Michael M. Oden would be that you have ADD and he works on people that have it.
Yes, that is actively a thing we share. Yeah. I take medication. I'm broken in the head, and he allegedly fixes people that are broken in the head. Yeah, that's great.
All right. Well, normally what we do here is I scour your life for anything that I find humorous, and then we go for interesting things.
Okay.
And I blend it all up, and Aldous.
I'm eager to find out what you've dug up on me. This is going to be fun.
Well,
I'm intrigued.
Right. I found some, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot.
I'm a pretty private guy, but like,
yeah, you're boring. Let's be honest. Like I went through a bunch. I'm teasing, but normally I like to give it your life a Quentin Tarantino style look at it, and then we go through it from there. Which of course Aldous is not a big fan of how I do that. But that is what it is. Everybody's
Aldous
a critic.
is not a big fan of anything that is not Aldous's way. That is how Aldous rolls.
That's pretty true. I suppose we're all like that a little bit. So we're going to start at the beginning, where it all began. Except for this, because really, I've been adulting for decades now, right? I've got years and years under the adult belt. So we all know how that is. And recently, you closed on a house. But I'm an adult, and I know that those things can go south real quick. How did that go?
Man, how did you find that out? I haven't posted about that fucking anywhere.
I just know things, man.
Yes, I did recently. So we put in the offer about, I think it was like a week and a half ago. Like they came back with a counter. We we met some of their demands, asked for some concessions and some other things, and they accepted last week. We're going through financing right now. This is my first home, so I'm using the veterans home loan, which is a godsend on that.
I've
But
always heard that's a little harder to go through that process.
it is and it isn't. Like, it really just depends. We actually really lucked out. The realtor that was doing the other house, like, yeah, I really like, the VA home loan. It like guarantees, like, make sure that we actually get the money, with very few financings that don't go through on that. So like that's nice. I know that there's definitely a lot of people who are a bit more hesitant to use them because the VA home loan like really wants to make sure that you're not just moving into it like a trash heap. And so their appraisal process is intense from what I understand. And I'm like, that's the big thing that we're at right now is I've paid for the appraisal. So now it's just waiting.
Oh man, that is so much fun. Not. All right, let's check out with the chat, see what's going on. Snuggie
Yes.
Jr. What's
Snuggie.
Said, I hope that just here to watch guy doesn't show up. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, I'd like everybody to show up, Snuggie. I'm not gonna lie. Yo, Ass Man and Ogden.
What up?
Why does he call you Ass Man and Ogden?
I think you're Ass Man, and then I'm Ogden.
There's no way Snuggie would disrespect me like that.
You are very fucking wrong.
Lollipop Gang says more like just there to stock. That's probably true. That's probably true. All right. We got Ramen Rockstar in the chat. Evening chat.
What up?
What's going on, Ramen Rockstar? What else we got? We got. Oh man. Lollipop Gang and Snuggie are ganging up on us. Back room.
Yep, where all good relationships begin. I mean, fair enough.
Right. And you see that? Snuggie bows to that. I don't think he bows for the right reason. Aldous likes it pulp style. Yes, he does.
Yes, he does. That's why he loves Judex. Judex is probably my favorite book he's ever done. His favorite book that I've ever done, rather. Got that mixed up. Ass
Man stalking guests on Zillow.
Dude, that's certainly how it feels, man. I was just like, how did you know that? Like, I haven't put that out fucking anywhere.
Well, that's a lie. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it. You just don't remember putting it out.
Did I talk about it on a show recently?
Yes, you did.
Was it on Jason Bascom's? I thought that I did that in the green room.
That was The Unhinged with Jason.
Yeah, so that is Jason Bascom and Angela. Okay. I didn't remember. I thought that I had talked about that in the green room, but whatever.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring it up.
Dude, you're all good. No,
I figured since you said it.
It's just one of those things where I've really been trying not to put it out there because I don't want to jinx myself, right? It's my first home. I'm very excited about it. It's a great place, but I just don't want to shoot myself in the foot.
Yeah. Snuggie Jr., me disrespect anyone? I'm shocked.
Shocked, I tell you. Judex was very good. I'm hoping to get to work on book 2 once Neff is on the recovery.
Nice. So this last 2 weekends ago, something like that, you were at the Shenandoah Comic-Con.
Yes, I was. That was a blast.
Yeah, you like the smaller ones, right?
Well, so this was actually my first convention that I've tabled at.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it was a good time. I technically done a parking lot convention last fall at a local comic book store, but that's not that's just that's more networking than anything. Your table costs are $40, so it's it's whatever. But this is my first legitimate tabling at a convention, and we did very well. I made back the money that was spent on the table and turned a 100% profit. So we made almost $300, which is nothing to scoff at.
Nice. Snuggy's asking how were sales.
It was good. Like, and Hojo was literally right across from me. I would like walk. We would walk over and give each other shit. Give each other shit every couple of hours. It was great. But like there was an awesome point in time. I'd say so like the convention started at like 10 a.m. and so it was a bit slow for the first couple of hours. But then around 11:30, we just got like a mass of people. And between 11:30 and like 2 o'clock, Hojo and I we would look I would look over there. He'd be swamped, and I was just freaking swamped. I had at one point I was giving the pitches of like all of the Nine Realms books to like 10 or 15 people at a time. It was pretty great.
Nice. That's nice because the big ones you kind of get overwhelmed by the superstars, right?
Yeah, well, and I think that was the thing that was really nice is that it's like a legitimate convention, but like the guest stars were the guy who played Alpha 5 in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then another Power Ranger from a later season. So it was just like, okay, the people that are here actually looking for comics or like comic book merchandise and stuff like that. So you could like there was like they would see their table, like they'd start looking at the stuff and you just talk to them. And once you got to pitching and everything, like, okay, yeah, I'm down. Like let's get this. And so I actually got to sell like a whole bunch of stuff. The Embrace and Judex were our top sellers at the convention. And then we had a 12-page preview of Elysian Fields there. So like if anyone purchased any book on the table, they got that 12-page preview for free.
Nice. Ramen Rockstar says, I'm dressing up as Snuggy for next Comic-Con. I'm not sure.
Hell yeah.
That's a good idea.
Dude.
But Oden thinks it is. Hail Shadowpunk. Welcome.
What's up?
All right, and Snuggy saying a special guest, the stunt double for the guy who played TK421. That's too funny. And you had so I learned this because I didn't know that you were you had a few other comics there with you, like American Bliss. You were the writer.
Yep, I wrote that series. Well, I am writing that series, I should say. Second issue has been submitted. I'm working on book 3. It's a 5-issue mini.
Oh, cool. That's cool. And the Aquila of the Phoenix Guard?
I was
editor and art director?
I was the editor, and like, so when Aardvark Comics initially did that, he had gotten these guys off of Fiverr. And it was the age-old tale of why we don't go and buy artists off Fiverr. Because like I came on and I was like, you've got a really strong design. These artists suck. Like I remember specifically the moment where I finally convinced him that he needed to get someone else. Was I was looking at it and I was like, Aardvark, the bad guys are holding up this gas station guy with a handgun. It was okay. They're in space. What's the problem? Okay. Space is a vacuum. What doesn't work in space? A handgun. You're not going to be able to, like, the charge isn't going to be, like, if the hammer strikes the back of the thing, it's not going to create, like, there's no friction. It's not going to create a charge. You're not going to be able to shoot. And he just went, oh, yeah, you need, like there's too much wrong with this. And so, I brought in, at that time, I just finished production on SPQR's Bizarre Adventure. My artist, the artist that I was using for that, Cari Salviejo, absolutely fantastic. At that time, she was relatively unknown, and so very cheap as well. And so I brought her over, and I was just like, pay her and she will show you why she is worth the investment. And then sure, like I straight up because like I was brought on initially to just help him build his campaign, and then I ended up taking on like a way more active role.
Right.
And I was like, take like, because I had like a campaign building service, and I was like, take this percent, like this, like $300 and pay Kari and have her do a few pages for you.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about that, because like at the time he had been going through some stuff, so that was the whole reason why I got linked together, was he needed help.
Okay.
So it's just like, all right, take that money, pay Kari, see how this was, and like Kari did a fantastic job drawing that character. She was
awesome,
great. And so I like at that point, like he started sending me the script, and I made like an editing pass on it. Like helped him fix a few things and expand on a few others. And then, so yeah, like I handled the editing and art direction on the book.
That's cool, man. So let's test your sci-fi knowledge, Mr.
Oh man, don't do that.
Mr. Rifles don't work in space. Firefly. What was Jane's rifle's name?
Oh man. And I know this too. Because he goes and he offers it to Mal for the frickin' to get in new Mrs. Reynolds. God damn it. Does it start with a B?
Yeah, now because you made yourself look dumb, you've now made me look dumb too. Because I can't remember. I've got a horrible memory. But
yeah.
I
couldn't.
When you said rifles wouldn't fire in space, I remember the
but like that's the whole thing is that he doesn't fire that thing in space. He fires it from within the ship, and they shoot it out into space.
Well, if you remember, he actually put a spacesuit over it, so
it
was inside an atmosphere, and he shot.
Correct.
Vera.
Oh, Vera. Okay.
Look at Lollipop Gang.
Okay.
Vera, dumbasses. Wow.
I knew it was like a B or a V. I knew it was something like short and it ended in A. Like initially I was thinking Bertha, but I was like, no, that's not right.
No, but that was an awesome attention to detail by Joss Whedon on that one.
Yeah, like it was. And I think like I loved Firefly. I thought that Serenity was okay, but it lacked what made Firefly work, which was the blend of the sci-fi and the Western aspect.
Right. But it finished
Serenity
the story, and I think
sci-fi.
I think the main goal was just to give the fans an ending. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it was necessarily Vera was the dingbat waitress in Alice too. Yes, Snuggie with the lore.
Yes.
But yeah, that was that one sidetracked me. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. So you were also the editor of Fiendish.
Every book since 2. So Fiendish 1,
okay.
I was not the editor on. I actually approached her because I read Fiendish 1 and I was like, hey, this is solid. I do think that there are things that could have been better, and I talked to her about it. She's like, well, I've been looking for an editor. Do you want to be editor of Fiendish 2? And so that's how we started. So I edited Fiendish 2, which was great. Really happy with how that turned out. 2.5 was fantastic. She's grown a lot as a writer and a storyteller. 3 is so awesome. Also very good as of the last editing pass that I did. Like, she's very talented.
Well, that's going to be awesome when it comes out. So I guess getting to not the beginning, but we got to skip over a few things. So you did 6 years in the Army. Tell me about that.
Well, I was in 11 Bravo. I was in the Army National Guard. So 11 Bravo is infantry specifically. So I made a interesting decision there. I remember Dude, I remember finishing like my ASVAB and doing all this stuff, and I'm at the recruiting office at Fort Lee down in Richmond, Virginia, and the recruiter there goes and looks at my fucking ASVAB test, and I score in like the 80th percentile, and the guy just looks at me and he goes, "Why the fuck do you want to go infantry? I've got like 5 intel slots," and I was just like, "No." Infantry. And now I'm like, a single dad, and I'm just like, that TSSCI and real world job experience
right?
would be really fucking nice right now.
So
it does.
Snuggy's right.
Man.
Richmond MEPS sucks.
I had to go through Richmond MEPS at Fort Lee. It's straight up like the Steve Rogers story, freaking 9 times for a waiver that I already had and handed them 9 times for my history with ADHD. I took medication for ADD growing up. And so I had gotten a waiver when I was applying for the United States Military Academy. And I'd gotten it. And so that's what we used when I was going through the recruiting center. And I remember this guy's name because he was a fucking caricature of a human being. He had like a deep Southern accent, white handlebar mustache, hair combed over, and his name was Dr. Raker.
Ooh.
And every single time I would get back to his office to do like the question, like the back and forth medical exam, like the actual talking through what your like checklist is, we'd get to the ADHD portion and he'd just go, "You need a waiver." And I was like, I have one. You need a waiver. But that's a waiver. You need a waiver. And I was just like, oh my fucking God.
And then you grew up and decided to work for the government. Interesting.
So I work for the public affairs office for PEO Soldier. I am an SME / social media manager over there.
Wow, a real life social media manager. So Lollipop Gang says that the ass man learned to color in the military. So that brings up a really good question. You had the option to be incredibly awesome, but you made the decision to join the army. Like, why did you fail so hard on that test? And there's only one branch that gets to say that to you.
Yeah, if you're talking about United States Marine Corps,
kill.
Look, man, USMC stands for Uncle Sam's Misguided Children. Go eat your box of crayons and cry about it to somebody else. All right? Oh, man. My drill sergeants love to pick on Marines. The amount of dumb Marine stories I have heard.
The amount of dumb Marine stories I'm in.
I'm sure. Dude, so I remember, so we were going through combat scenarios because I was obviously I was infantry, so we're over at Benning School for Boys, and the drill sergeants are talking to us about what you're supposed to do in a firefight when one of your guys gets shot down, right? And effectively, the Army teaches you is like, all right, like the best thing that you can do in that situation is fight and deal with the threat, so that way actual aid can be given to your buddy. Like, don't try and run over to him. Fight the fight and overcome the opponent and then get back to it. Because if you try and run to go get your buddy, you could end up getting shot, and now you're a problem too. And so what the drill sergeant showed us is that, and it's a very famous thing, and every Marine gets like swelled up with pride when they see this, is their images from Fallujah, where you've got one Marine goes down, another one comes It's like they're very clearly like under sniper fire, and so the other
Right.
Marine comes out to try and grab him. He goes down, and then their team leader tries to come out and grab both of them. He gets shot down, and like the Marines are all fucking rah, but look at the brotherhood. And our drill sergeants were like, "Don't be these fucking idiots," because this is like this was a simple solution. You get to cover and you call in a fucking airstrike on those assholes.
You take all the fun out of it, Oden. Good Lord. This is battle royale. We're in it to win it, even if we gotta lose.
Oh man,
to win it.
There's so many stories that you and I could exchange on another time. I'm not gonna.
I am certain. I am certain.
I have had some great interactions. Like, all kidding aside, you know, most of the Marines that I've had the chance of getting to know and work with are fucking great dudes. There's the occasional one where you're like, man, how the fuck did you like survive anything? Like, do you have a brain cell? Do you have a single one? It's like in basic, there's like this whole thing of we're either going to make you a smart soldier or a strong soldier. You keep fucking up, we're going to make you a strong soldier. You're going to be able to endure the biggest shit kicking you can possibly get. But we'd rather you be a smart soldier. And like every single time I would, like, there are a couple of these guys that every single time I deal with them, like, man, you must have been one fucking tough son of a bitch when you were in, because like you are dumber than a bag of bricks. And there is no way you didn't just get PT'd ruthlessly every single time you did something fucking dumb. Like,
yeah, that was. That's how I remember it going.
Oh man!
All right, so let's go back to the beginning of your YouTube career at Nine Realms Publishing.
The beginning of my YouTube career.
So,
oh my god!
May 2nd, 2017, you dropped your first video, which was Lords of Fallen gameplay.
Was it Lords of the Fallen gameplay?
Yes, it was.
In 2017?
Yep.
You're sure?
Lords of the Fallen came out in 2014.
Because I didn't start playing Lords of the Fallen. Like, I didn't play the original Lords of the Fallen. I played the remake that came out a year or two ago.
It is.
Are you sure it's not Dark Souls? Because like
no,
I used to use like probably my biggest video actually is I did a Eustace Bag playthrough of fucking Bloodborne. So like I think that the second one of those, which I have like the Chronicles of Eustace Bag Part 2, where's my mallet, or Get Me My Mallet, where I'm like literally beating people, beating the werewolves with a Kirk hammer. Got like 40,000 views or something like that. It's fucking insane.
Oh man, you totally called me out on this one. No, that's Lords of the Fallen. Yeah.
You sure?
It's listed on the video, Lords of the Fallen.
I'm gonna go take a look real quick. I'm sure that you're right. Like, you're the one that's doing the research. I just the only Lords of the Fallen game I played was the remake, which I didn't even
titled
finish.
It Freedy is One Mean Lady.
Freed is One Mean Lady is from Dark Souls 3. That's Ashes of Air. That's Ashes of Ariandel. As the first
when you go under the video, YouTube has it pulled up as Lords of the Fallen.
Well, YouTube is fucking wrong. That's from Dark Souls 3. Well, that's from Fire.
We'll call that one a draw then.
Yeah, that's from Ashes of Ariandel, which is the first DLC of Dark Souls 3. So yeah, as I said, like, you know, when my YouTube channel was literally just like initially just a repository of me dumping gaming clips and stuff like that.
Which you've been consistent isn't the right word, but you have been laying them out periodically all the way up until 8 months ago when you stopped doing that.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
don't
do
really.
any commentary on yours. It is straight gameplay.
Yeah, it was just like me. I would just upload videos whenever I like beat a boss or something like that, and be like, "Yeah, fuck yeah,
Oh.
that's great," and I would just put it up there. Like I used to like post them to my friend groups and what have you. Just be like, "Yeah, I fucked up this boss." But yeah,
That's funny. And then in May 8th, 2021, you started streaming. You did Comic
yes,
Call with Will Perdermo, the writer of Black Flag. No
yeah.
affiliation with Henry Rollins or Black Flag, the punk band.
Of course not. No, that was fun. I've done a couple of different shows that I've tried to do over the years. Most of them fizzle away after a while. That was fun though. That was way back when it was like I think he had just left writing prose on Red Valkyrie,
I
and
think
I was
so.
looking at getting into doing some streaming, and then we did like a couple of things, and then a couple of episodes, and then our schedules just didn't link up anymore.
Oh man, and you had some big panels right away. You were
Mm-hmm.
bringing on like 4 or 5 people each time. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a good time.
And then you did some live sketch cards for one of your campaigns.
Yeah,
Was that
man,
the Embrace?
I
Was that
think
what that was
so.
called?
I think I did. I think I did that for that because I can't remember. That was a while ago.
Yes, it
I think
was.
I was just doing like drawings because like for a while I had a Patreon running, and I had like
Mm,
a tier where
that's
like
right. It was for Patreon. You're right.
yeah like so like I was doing sketch cards for people that backed at like a certain tier on Patreon. I had one guy that was doing them, and so it would just be like every month I would do a sketch card for whoever was at that, and I did like 13 of the fucking things. Like he was on there for a while.
Nice.
Uh, I think the last one I did for him was a Green Lantern. I did a Hal Jordan Green Lantern for him.
Tight. And then you moved on and did some comic reviews. You did a handful of impromptu rants, which were fun to listen to.
Yeah, those are always a good time.
You did the mainstream dumpster diving reviews for
I want to
mainstream
bring
comics.
that one back.
Oh, I
So
think
bad.
that would be so good. That'd be so good, man.
Like I was like the big problem is that when you're doing those shows and you don't have somebody to play off of,
Yes.
it becomes you feel like you're in your own echo chamber. You're like, man, is anyone actually fucking interested in what I have to say? And so
Right.
like it just gets in your head. Like when I did the impromptu rants, it was always like something fucking triggered me, and I went, I'm going to bitch about this for like an hour. Like I think that my favorite one that I've done was when I saw the fucking image where it's this lady holding up a sign that's like it's why is it his story and not her story? And I went, nope, we're fucking settling this. I hate that fucking thing. And it's ironic because I actually really enjoyed this movie when I was in high school, but like I hate everything that it's spawned since. There's a Ryan Reynolds movie called School of Life where
Yep.
like Ryan Reynolds plays this history teacher, and like he makes it a point for his class to be like his/her story, her story, and I was just like, this is cute. Here's the problem. That's not what this fucking is. And by you doing this, you've just fucked over all these kids and made them completely misunderstand the point. Fucking idiots.
Yes.
But
Snugs
I
isn't all the way
disagree
right
with you,
or all the way
Snuggy.
wrong.
I love Ryan Reynolds. Waiting is one of my favorite movies of all time. I fucking adore that film.
Oh God, Waiting is amazing. I have
hilarious.
never had the opportunity to give anybody bat wings, but god damn when I do.
Oh man, what a fucking glorious film. If anyone who has ever worked full food service, Waiting should be required fucking watching material.
Yes, that was the first time I'd ever heard of Dane Cook, and he did great in that film.
Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy how much his career shat the bed because he's an unoriginal asshole.
Yeah. Well, but And I think the difference between him and Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds has done a very good job of hiding the asshole behind the curtain.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
I mean, yeah, but yeah, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Nothing more to say on that. That's nice. So how about
Yeah.
you did the Napoleon show with Aldous? How was that?
That was a great time. We just got like it just got to a point where I had a lot of other stuff going on, and like Aldous and I would go all out for that fucking show. We would do tons of research and pull up battle maps and everything like that. And it was just, I think that the big thing for me was also just, again, how late it was fucking at night when we were doing the show. And I was just too fucking tired. I'm a little bitch when it comes down to my sleep now. I did that whole don't sleep thing for 6 years, and I don't like it.
Man, I bet it was crazy entertaining listening to you and Aldous kind of meet right on that overlap where nerd and dork overlap.
Yeah.
Because I listened to you guys once before, and god damn, it was rough. I've never been the kind of guy that wanted to punch nerds, but you and Aldous kind of make me want to do it. You're using all those big words I don't understand. It's infuriating.
I'll say this, man. I didn't do near as much talking during the Napoleon shows as Aldous did. Like Aldous, I know my fair share of Napoleon. I am a big French Revolution history nut. Like I know my shit there, but like as well as I know my stuff, Aldous is on a whole other fucking different plane of existence than me. And like I have we have like the inverse when it comes down to like the classical period and like the Homeric period and what have you. Like we had a stream talking about either the Iliad or the Odyssey at one point, he and I, and it was just like Aldous was getting barely able to get in word and edgewise. It's like, well, this is a weird thing. I'm not used to this. Not sure I like this.
So what do you think about this one?
Snuggie can go fuck off with this. I'm not even going to read that out loud. The fact that it's on the screen is bad enough. Just get rid of it. It's like saying that's like saying freaking Ridley Scott's depiction of ancient Rome is at its peak at Gladiator 2 with the freaking
that's one of the best soundtracks of the year in my opinion.
Fuck off. That entire movie, just fuck that movie. We're gonna open up with a naval siege of where did they start? Is it Numidia? God, it was just like okay, and they're like last free vestment in Africa against the Roman Empire. I was like, Numidia fell to the fucking Romans during the Republic. Like that's literally the Jugurthan Wars. I can't. Anyways, moving on.
All right. So you did win in Rome with Matt C.
Yes, and then it eventually
went to for a long time, right? Then
dude, I loved doing that show. I think that it fell apart because Matt was my co-host, right? And I loved doing it with Miranda. It was really fun, but like it really sucked that he had to leave, and like there just came a point where like we were doing the show and it was still going pretty well, but like there was other stuff going on in Miranda and I's lives, and we were just emotionally and physically exhausted.
Right.
Every single time that we would go to do it. And then it's just a matter of like, you know, the big difficulty with it before. And even when I was doing it with Matt, because there was a couple of weeks where we'd have off because it was just, we wouldn't have anything to fucking talk about. And so like, that's the big problem is when it's so targeted like that, it's like, well, what the fuck do we talk about for an hour outside of just doing a bunch of shit posting? Like,
You
It was
literally just explained what would happen if you dropped off this stream. I would take one look at Lollipop Gang and say, "Fuck this, we're out."
yeah.
I'm not hanging out with her. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's get to comics now. So I'm going on the timeline of videos, so they're not going to exactly line up with campaigns, but April 26, 2020, Elysian Fields 0 was
Okay.
the Indiegogo video release.
Okay.
So what led up to that? Because didn't
A
that
comedy
start
of
as a
errors.
game?
It wasn't a game in the standpoint of like an RPG or anything like that. It was a game as in we were a bunch of fucking dorky kids in Latin class arguing which classical heroes would win in a fight. The same way that like nerdy kids argue about who would win in a fight between Spider-Man and Batman, we were sitting there with talking about, oh, but who would win between like Heracles and Beowulf, right? Like that was the whole thing. We were just really fucking nerdy and very pathetic. So, but like even still, dude, I participated in Latin Curtamen. So that like there is a whole thing in the American Classical Society where they host competitions for like school age kids that are studying Latin to test their knowledge of Roman history and mythology and Roman vocabulary and grammar to try and keep Latin alive in an exciting way. And so I participated in Curtamens. That's how much of a fucking nerd I was. But and like I used to have like we came like third place in one of these competitions back when I was in 8th grade. And I used to have my little fucking Athena medal that we had from that. But that's been long since gone. You guys are adding so much shit to the lore book on this. But so yeah, like
but not
that's how
you definitely didn't do Latin for chicks.
No, not even remotely. But so like that was the whole thing was it started off as just a bunch of kids talking about this silly shit.
Yeah.
And then I started to really toy with the idea of turning it into a story in high school, but never really got it to any place that I really liked. It wasn't until much later that I started to think, oh, I could do like a fucking like once I started to actually have some like creative agency, I would say. I figured, you know what, this could work as like a tournament book. Like that would actually be pretty cool. Yeah. And so that's what really pushed me to do that. Like, and you know, prior to actually writing my own books, I had done quite a bit as a freelance writer for industry trades. They're usually small ones. But like I worked for a site called Up Your Geek for about 3 or 4 years.
Nice.
And that's actually how I got a lot of connections in the indie field, as I was doing a lot of indie reviews. I had worked for Heroic Hollywood for about like 2 or 3 weeks, and that was fucking miserable. I quit very quickly. But I had gotten my start back in 2016. I was deployed to Qatar, which is literally just a paid vacation, the devil's asshole. And I had a Movie Pilot account. And so like for anyone who doesn't know what Movie Pilot is, which wouldn't shock me, they were a industry trade where anybody could set up a Movie Pilot account and write content for Movie Pilot. But what would happen is that they would use this as a way to actually target and recruit new people, and they would put them through verified creator programs and literally turn them into industry journalists where they would get paid to create official content for the platform. And so I was deployed, and I wrote a review of Superman Rebirth issue 2 by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, I think is the artist. I always get it like mixed up because there are the actor Gleasons and then there's the comic book artist Gleason, and I always fuck it up. But I'm fairly certain it's Patrick. So, but it like I loved that book. I wrote this review called An Ode to Fatherhood, and it was really funny because I was deployed when I did this. I posted it up and to Movie Pilot, and I hadn't had a chance to share it yet. And so I log into Facebook after I had published the article, and I see that Movie Pilot has posted a review that had like a very similarly worded title of the second issue of Superman Rebirth. I was like, man, those motherfuckers stole my thunder. And so I don't check in for a while, and then I come back, I think it's like a week and a half later, and I go back to my Movie Pilot profile, and I've got like 5 messages from Movie Pilot in my inbox, and my ode to fatherhood piece has over 13,000 reads. I was like, wow. What the fuck happened? And so I found out that like they had seen my piece, they really liked it. They did some tweaking to the format and changed the title up a little bit to better hit SEO optimization for the browser for social medias. Yeah. And so I went through their verified creator program. Like they brought me in, I went through their verified creator program, and I wrote probably like 10 or 15 like official op-ed pieces for them. Which was great. I actually really liked working for them. They were like right at the beginning of things in industry journalism being very clickbait driven. So like we learned how to do a lot of that stuff during the verified creator program, but it was still very much like, look, we don't want you to fucking give up your style, but we want you to be able to do this in official capacity because this is where the industry is going, sadly.
Right. Yeah.
So I did that for a while. I started my own blog at one point. I had a couple of those that didn't quite take off. And then, as I said, I worked for Heroic Hollywood for like maybe 2.5 weeks. I literally was so excited to be accepted. I was so pumped. I was like, yes, like this could be the start of something for me. And it was right after James was born, my son. And I have never been less proud of anything I have written. And I wrote quite a few things for them. In those 2 weeks, I wrote over like 30 articles, and I fucking hated all of them. Because the way that it works. So I was like, when you get picked up by a site like Heroic Hollywood, you start off as effectively an unpaid intern at the very bottom, right?
Right.
And so they have 3-hour editorial shifts where you would go in and the editors would post other news articles from other industry trades talking about specific things. And you'd be in this like Facebook group with all the other writers in the bullpen for your shift. Yeah. And so you would be required to sit there for 3 hours and just constantly take these other articles from other trades and regurgitate that information with slightly different wording and publish it, and then you would be responsible for scheduling it into the social media flow, right?
Yeah.
And it was just fucking miserable. I hated it so much. Like I felt like it was a fucking old yeller to creativity in journalism. I fucking despised it. So I did not stick around.
Yeah, that's man. When things start going that way, God, it sucks. Yeah, it really sucks. But anyhow, let's get back to Elysian Fields. So that was a hit, man. Like right out the gate, you had a super successful particularly for a first time guy coming in on the scene, right?
Yes. It it did very well. I like to call it a comedy of errors. It had a happy ending, but I had no fucking idea what I was doing. A lot of it was me falling on my face and then
Right.
finding people who helped me like pick myself back up. And that was a really great experience. It was also one of those things where I didn't realize it at the time, but when I look back at it, it's this very much lightning in a bottle moment.
Yeah.
Crowdfunding had really just started to boom. And
Because that was the COVID boom, kind of, right?
yeah, no, like everyone was getting stimulus checks. Everyone had disposable income.
You hit at the perfect time.
Yeah, like everyone had the disposable income. And then more importantly, at that point in time, the mainstream industry had gone pencils down.
Oh, that's
Because
right. Yeah.
so there was no fucking competition. So
Yeah.
everyone was spending money on indie books that looked even remotely good. And so I had that first campaign and it was very successful. But I didn't know jack shit about what I was doing. And so during that time between when like after I did my first campaign and I fulfilled it early. We were about 6 months early on fulfillment.
Because it was only 6 months later before you rolled into the Pyramid Gambit.
Yes. And so during that time, I was talking to tons of people who'd been doing this for a long time, and I was making connections. And I was like, oh man, like I'm going to be like, I had turned like absolutely unheard of in the indie scene. I had turned a profit on my first book.
Right.
Like a pretty substantial one. I was able to immediately take what I didn't need for fulfillment and invest it into the next book.
I'm only laughing because I know what comes next.
Yeah, I know.
It's funny in hindsight, right?
Oh, I don't know if it's even funny to me in hindsight. It really sucks. I try to laugh.
Yeah.
I did all of this work to try and grow it and build it. And I thought I was doing everything right. I was taking every lesson that I had learned from all of these other people that had been at this for ages. And I really thought we were going to explode. And I had gotten all these variant covers from all of these people who said they were going to help promote. And I had brought on a guy to help be a marketing arm. I had done all this stuff.
Yeah.
To really make sure and ensure that Pyramid Gambit would match the same level of sales. And it fucking tanked. Like we technically made around the same amount of money. Like if you look at it at face value, I think we got just short of $9,000 on the first book. The second book, it was at like 8,200. So that's not like the biggest dip off, but where you realize what you end up having to realize is the first book was 24 pages. It caught the basic tier on that book, I think was $10, maybe $15. Pyramid Gambit was $25 and was almost 60 pages of story.
Right.
And I lost a lot of money. And at that point in time, things were getting contentious with my custody situation.
Right.
And so I didn't think I was going to continue to do comic. Like the Pyramid Gambit almost fucking broke me.
Yeah, and it was basically just the market kind of recorrecting and the fact that you had decided to go with twice the pages, right? That's kind of the two things that had.
I think there was that. I overspent on variants for one. I got a lot of talent that I frankly couldn't afford. And then a lot of promises that were made on that end that didn't go through. The guy that I had brought on to do marketing turned out to be a bit of a shyster.
So he taught you a lot of things.
No, I mean, he kind of screwed me over and left me to hang and dry.
Meaning you learned a lot from that experience.
Yeah, I guess.
That's the only way you can look at it, man.
Absolutely.
Think it like if you really want to think about it.
Well, and so Snuggie actually brought up probably the biggest thing. I haven't heard of the Pyramid book. For whatever reason, nobody I got to nobody that backed that backed issue 0. Like nobody that backed issue 0 knew that Pyramid Gambit was coming out. I was bumping into people doing promotional tours on the Embrace almost like hell, even on SPQR and in the Embrace too, bumping into people and be like, oh man, I backed the 0 issue. I really loved that. Whatever happened to that series?
So what do you think happened there?
Well, I think email lists, they're finicky because a lot of people put on an email that they expect all of their spam to go to. Right. And so you have that aspect of it. There's also just the aspect of, and this is such a fucking weird thing to say, but I fulfilled the first book so quickly that people weren't looking for the second book.
Yep.
Because they weren't expecting it to come out that quick. And it seems like a very dumb thing to say, but it is legitimate.
Yeah.
But
you just have to stay on top of that marketing too. Dude, I've been just looking at how many of these shows you go on when you on the run up to release. Man, you just can't stop. If there's a show you can be on to reach one extra person, you've got to do it.
And that was the thing that confused me, was I was everywhere. If you go and you look up Elysian Fields Pyramid Gambit on YouTube, you will find tons of shows. I was everywhere back because that was when there were tons of promotional YouTube shows at that point in time. I was on average, when I was doing Elysian Fields Pyramid Gambit, and even with the Embrace and SPQR, I averaged 3 streams a day for 4 weeks.
Oh my God.
I was hopping on a stream in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night every day for 4 freaking weeks. And each one of those streams was a minimum of an hour.
Dang.
I was so it was just a confusing thing to me. I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. And the fact of the matter is that indie comics is just like that.
Right.
There's some times where you hit lightning and everybody comes to support you, and you feel like $1 million when it happens. But then there are times where you feel like you've done everything right, and you just fall straight on your freaking face, and it's gut-wrenching. It's absolutely just appalling. And as I said, Pyramid Gambit almost broke me. I had a bunch of people that I thought were my friends, and that I thought were people that I could work with, that I was working with, kind of screw me over. And then I had all of the response that I had officially received on the first book had been pretty damn positive. Now, probably some of the most valuable things that I learned from that book were the reviews that didn't pull punches with me. And in fact, probably my favorite review of anything that I've ever gotten was this guy, Inch High Comic Guy, who used to do reviews back when all of this had started, reviewed I had sent him a digital copy of issue 0. And this, I know, Snuggy, you are not one of them. And I'm not going to name those people on the show. Like, I'm not here to stir shit or anything like that. I'm just like, if we're talking about my story, this is part of my story. I had trusted people that I thought had my best interests in line. I thought that I had assured that was going to be the case, and they screwed me over multiple times. And I almost didn't have a place to close out.
Dang.
Because of it. Like, I was utterly destroyed. Like, I felt like completely dejected by the end of that campaign. I really thought that I was going to be done with comics. I had even told my mom, like, yeah, I don't think I'm doing this anymore. I'm gonna name them all just beans. Yeah. Nah, man. But
well, why don't we then roll into? I'm going to skip over a few things because
that's fine.
We've been doing a bunch. Let's roll right into the Embrace.
Yeah. Well,
because you had already mentioned you were going through the custody stuff with your son, who was roughly about 3 at that time.
Yep.
And that's an awesome story. Tell it.
Well, as established, I was going through a pretty shit kicker of time. And I came up with this idea for a story. I wanted to tell a father-son story, but I wanted to do it in a way that hadn't really been done before. Because whenever you do a father and son story, it's always about the father saving the son.
Well, not Star Wars, but
yes,
that's about Rey saving.
We're not going there. Just drop it. It's over.
All right, back to the Embrace.
Anyways, but it's generally that whole father saves son dynamic. It's always father serves as a guiding light. And don't get me wrong, there's a reason for that.
Right.
But I really liked this idea of our kids being the best part of ourselves. And I really liked this idea about a kid saving his dad. And I've always been a really big. I had recently done a reread of James O'Barr's The Crow, which has always been one of my favorite books. Specifically, the 10th anniversary edition, which has a whole bunch of extra stuff that O'Barr hadn't included in his original because it was just too painful for him.
Right.
And so I was like, man, what if I did this story about a guy who loses his son and his son ghost comes back and they get to team up as a superhero? Like, that would be something. And I knew I want it, I knew exactly, I knew I wanted to call it the Embrace pretty much immediately, because I was like, that's how they transform, right? Like, they hug. Like, that's the obvious thing. It's the perfect thing for it. But I couldn't visualize the character like at all. And so Lee Byron Carver, who was one of the friends I actually made during the shit show that was Pyramid Gambit, trying to figure out ways to connect to new audiences, because he used to do a review show called Kemosabe Returns. I hit him up and I gave him like the basic pitch of it. And I was like, I want to find like an artist that could do like a really solid black and white style. Because initially I really wanted it to be very much like James O'Barr's The Crow. I wanted it to be full black and white.
Right.
And that's where Lee put me in touch with Dean. And I talked to him about it. He really liked the idea. We started working on a character design. And he was almost dead on, like, pretty immediately what I was looking to go for. And once I saw the character design, I started writing that script. And I think I had my first pass done within a week.
Nice.
Like, and it was crazy because like up until that point I had been struggling. I couldn't visualize the character. And so yeah, like we did that, and we got the Barton Brothers cover back when they were still promoting Kozor, so they were all on the up and up. We got a lot of right attention at the right time. And people really resonated with that story.
Dude,
and
that
it was crazy.
Huge one.
Yeah, like it was crazy because there were a lot of people, and I didn't find this out until later, but like there were a lot of people that were my friends that didn't have the heart to tell me. They're like, I don't think that this is gonna work, man. This is a really fucking dark book. Like, this is going to turn people off. You start this story off with a guy trying to kill himself because his child's been killed. Like, this is some tough shit. Like, I don't like one of those people is actually like Bancroft had told me, and he said this on one of the streams that we do. So like, I don't feel bad, but like he was like, when I gave that initial pitch, Bancroft was like, I don't know how well this is going to do, man. And he was blown away by it, like very happy, but blown away by how successful it was. And people really resonated with it. And then the book started to get out to people, and we started to get the reviews. I still remember, and I don't even know if I hope this person backed the second book, but she'd gotten the book, and the address she had initially put was her dad's place. And so she had recently moved out. And so her dad had opened the copy and read it and fucking loved it.
Dang.
And so she's like, yeah, I guess I'm going to have to buy 2 copies of the next issue. I was just like, oh, awesome. But like,
that just makes you feel good, doesn't it?
It does. It did. It was very great. And like, there were definitely some issues with the First Embrace campaign, not on the crowdfunding size. We had some issues with the printer. Ask Dean. I say that, but like, in all seriousness, Dean went through a hell of an end to 2024. He got very sick, and then his tablet went down, and that had like a quarter of the pages he was working on for the Embrace too.
Oh.
So he's having to redo a lot of them. It's just, it sucks. But he's getting there. I'm hoping we're gonna have a chat tomorrow. I'm hoping to kind of see what timeline we're thinking of. I'm hoping that we have all the line art done by May, so that way we can get everything fulfilled by June, July, along with Elysian Fields. That would be awesome, actually. Like, might even be able to save on some shipping, have everyone's stuff go out with their Elysian Fields package, just get everything all in the same thing.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, like, when I read about this, because I am very new on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about things just in general, but particularly in indie comics, I'm just learning. So everything I learn about this stuff is I'm brand new to it. And when I read about the Embrace and then I heard you talk about it and kind of where that story came from, and for any dude that has been in that situation that you were going through there, the moment that I saw that the suit was powered by the sun's soul, like, I knew the story. And I would just be bawling if I read it, and that would be horrible. But I know that I would love it. I absolutely know that I love it. So I need to figure out how to get that. How does one get one of those?
How does one get that is just like, we are going to be doing a Embrace 2 Kickstarter once that's closer, because like, we were going to do it initially much earlier, but then there were some delays getting the Kickstarter exclusive cover, and then it became a whole thing of Dean had all of his stuff come up, and I didn't want to host like another crowdfunder when we weren't close to having the book done. Right.
I get that.
So once we get closer to that, we will host another Kickstarter, and that will be like the thing, and you'll be able to get the first book on there.
Because I definitely want to get those.
And you know, oh Jesus! Oh no, we're not going
Aldous,
there.
if you scroll up in the chat, you're gonna see Snuggy Jr. talking a lot of smack about you.
Yeah,
I'm just
he
throwing that
threw
out
you
there.
under the bus like immediately. It wasn't even like prompted. But yeah, like there are definitely going to be opportunities to get that, and it's my hope to also have like a Nine Realms publishing website built here in the next year.
Dude, I was literally going to ask you why there's not one.
So money.
Right?
Is literally what it comes down to. Is like,
that's why there's not a vacation house on the beach.
It's just like why isn't there a Nine Realms publishing website? You do like a lot of stuff, and I'm like, yeah, money. Like the big thing is money.
No, because sometimes, man, when I'm going through everybody's stuff, like I see, because I get it. I do things and I forget about the stuff I've done, and I forget that there's things that I should tie together from here to there. But when I see like everything you've done, I had to research to find all of that instead of clicking a button on any one of your profiles and that button displaying everything you've done for me.
Yeah. I have done quite a bit in my limited time in this indie comic sphere.
Right. You're basically an old man.
I don't know if I would say that. But I've definitely done a lot. And there's even stuff that I've done that people will never find out about because it will never be published. Yeah,
I got a lot of foot picks like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where there's for every job that you get published, there's 5 more that never see the light of day as a writer. Like
probably more than 5.
Well, like I can think of at least 10 projects where I was paid to do a script, wrote the script, turned it in, and they're like, "Oh, like this is awesome," and then they never do anything with it. Like,
right.
I remember early on there was this like online casino that wanted to have like a superhero themed thing, and so they hired me to write a comic based around like the superhero that was going to be like the mascot for their thing. And so like I wrote one of those, and it was like a 20-page script. Really fun thing to do. I remember having like a really like it's very different than most of the stuff I write. It's very comedy based, very goofy.
Yeah.
It's never seeing the light of day. That company folded like ages ago. But like I got paid. I wrote it. It's out. It's like it didn't even get an artist attached to it. But like I was paid to write a script. I did it. It was sent. But like that's an example, a great example of job that I got paid to do. It's done, but it's never going to see the light of day.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, oh man, you hear so many stories of like in Hollywood, right? All the scripts that they do and all that and stuff never happens. Aldous Snugs would absolutely do you that dirty.
Oden is known across the land for his Greek city-state based humor. Oh, absolutely.
It's true. We had to talk about that before it started. I said, man, none of that nerd shit, all right? Words have to be 1, maybe 2 syllables max. All right. So where did SPQR's Bizarre Adventure come from?
I am an unabashed weeb.
Is that like a furry?
So I watch a lot of anime and manga. I love it. It's great. And so there's a very popular manga / anime called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which I was very enamored with at the time. And one of the history shit posting pages that I follow had posted up had a shirt that they put out where it was Scipio it was Cato the Elder with Carthago delenda est, but everything was done in like JoJo style, and I laughed my ass off, and I was like, oh, that'd be funny, you know, Roman style JoJo. So like I did these sketches of like Julius Caesar as a stand user and Pompey Magnus as a stand user. I posted them up on Twitter, and I got like 12 messages being like, "You're doing that, right? Like that's real." I went, okay. And I was working armed security at that point, and so I was up I was jokingly talking about how I could do this with Aaron Neff over at Global Frequency, and we were talking about this till like 2 a.m. And so he's he's like, all right, it's 2 a.m. We're both fucking dog tired. So there's every chance that this is just a terrible idea.
Right. Everything's funnier on night shift.
Get some sleep and come back to me tomorrow. And my HD brain tried and failed. And I woke up like 2 hours later and I wrote the entire thing.
Wow.
And I sent it to Neff and I went, I think this works. And he read it and he went, fuck you. Yeah, go make it. And so I went, and there was a process of finding the right artist that could actually emulate Hirohiko Araki's style, because it's a very weird aesthetic. And I got pointed to Kari Salviejo, who did this tremendous homage style to Araki. And like the whole thing was just, we took this, there's this final fight in the 3rd series of JoJo between Jotaro Kujo and Dio Brando as the villain. And so I took that I effectively took the framework of that fight, but I made it Julius Caesar versus Pompey Magnus at the Rubicon River.
Nice.
And so it was SPQR's Bizarre Adventure, Rubicon Invaders, instead of Stardust Crusaders. And I just went all out, and it was a fun little book, and it had no right looking as good as it did. It had no right being as fun as it was. Like, I had people that were like, I had a buddy of mine who like backed everything that I had done, and he did a review on his channel, and he was just like, I've never read any JoJo. I know jack shit about history, but I'll be damned if this isn't the most professional book you've ever that these guys have ever put out. Like, this could sit on a shelf and fucking like bring people in.
That's funny.
Oh God.
It seemed like it was a pretty daggum successful campaign.
It was a good time. And that was, we got a lot of support on that. And that's when I was trying to play around with maybe bringing Elysian Fields back and just having it recolored and everything like that. Cause that was one of the big critiques that I had gotten from Inch High's video. And so it did well. But yeah, and then like the next thing after that's probably what, Judex?
I think so. But before we move on, somehow he's made it in this show twice, and he's probably never even heard of me. But Mo Biggs makes another appearance on his Tears mug. How did the Mo Biggs Tears mug come about? What's the story there?
Mo hates anime and manga. He despises it. to the point where if I am at a chat in a chat and Mo is there and I make a single anime reference, I get fucking blocked like immediately. I get timed out immediately for 5 minutes. And so I hit up Mo and I was just like, all right, I have an idea. I want to have my artist do a rendering of you as a JoJo character and have AR-15 orangutan be your stand. And so he came to an agreement, but like there were specific conditions that needed to be met because Mo is literally, his icon's just a black circle. And so the character's face couldn't be shown, and I was like, that's no problem. I was already intending that. There's this perfect image of Dio in this pose where his face is all blacked out, already planning that. He goes, okay. Like that, I was like, the only thing I ask is to have one eye showing so that way I can have a teardrop running down it. And so like he came up with the y'all need Weebhab tagline to go with it. And so it's the Mo's Tears mug with y'all need Weebhab on it. And that thing was fucking awesome. I adore it so much.
That is so funny. That is so funny. So yeah, then next you had the Judex, which
that
was fantastic. Tell me a little bit about that.
So that was a really fun thing to put together. So I initially got the idea because I'm a huge fan of The Shadow, and Aldous knows this. And so there was a lot of speculation that Gibson could have been inspired to make The Shadow by this old 1916, I think it is, silent film called Judex. And so that gave me this kind of idea to do a story, like effectively write a shadow story without writing a shadow story.
Right.
And so I took this silent film character and I kind of reworked him and reimagined him into this pulp style defender of Parisian culture during the occupation in the 40s. I, got this design together. I got a couple of pages together and I showed it to my friend I've already mentioned before, Aaron Neff. He's over at Global Frequency, very talented comic writer in his own right. Mavericks is fantastic. And so I showed it to him and he was very enthusiastic about it and he wanted to get involved. And so we became collaborators on the project. He financed it. He was the producer, and then he came on initially as an editor role, and then it became way more involved than that. We were working on the script together, really ironing it out, making it as fantastic as possible. He added a sequence or two here, and so he became my co-writer on the book, and it was just something special. I found this fucking amazing artist named Fabrizio Ugolini from Italy, fucking crushed it. I wanted to, he really captured the essence of what I wanted to do from an art standpoint in terms of making it feel like a black and white film. The only speculation is Oden continually bringing it up. I mean, it's literally okay. Point is, I'm not going into that. Point is that it was a very special book. I was very happy with how it turned out, and I'm excited to do a second book once Neff gets on the road to recovery a bit. I know that he's had his own health issues here in the past year. He is on his way back. He's doing better, but awesome. He's got his own stuff he also needs to focus on. So when he's ready, I'm excited to come back and do a second book. But that was just such a beautiful project to put together, and it was a blast. And the book speaks for itself. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, speaking of book 2 and things not going exactly the way things are planned, we roll right into the Embrace 2.
Yes. Oh man.
And this one kind of came with a lot of fanfare, huh?
Yes, it did. We launched very successfully, only for Indiegogo to shadow ban us within the first 48 hours.
Boy,
Which
that's literally my next note is you no longer use Indiegogo. Why?
that's why. All right. SPQR towards the end. Shadow banned. Judex. First 72 hours. Shadow banned. The Embrace 2. First 24 hours. Shadow banned.
That's crazy because from everything Hojo says, that's the only people he's going to use anymore is Indiegogo.
Really?
No, I made that up completely.
I was about to
you
say
can imagine what Hojo had to say about him.
Oh, I was about to say it, like, because I know what Indiegogo tried to pull on Hojo, and I'm like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way that that's accurate.
Here's the thing. If you're not on the show or in the chat, I can lie about all of you, and there's nothing you can do about it, really.
Fair enough.
But no, Hojo pretty well hates them.
But like, I just, they charge 8% for platform fees.
And that's crazy high compared to everyone else, right?
It's the highest of all of them. And so how can you expect me to sit here, work my ass off? And that's what it is. I'm working my ass off. I go,
right.
Like, as I said, like, even with the disappearance of all these promotional streams over the past few years, I still managed to make it on. This has been a light week. This is my first stream this week. But last week, I did 2 recorded interviews in a stream. The week prior, I did 3 streams and a recorded interview. Like, I bust my ass off.
Oh, yeah.
Why the fuck am I going to pay you 8% platform fees?
And as Snuggie Jr. says, for no customer service.
And you refuse to acknowledge my emails or give me bullshit non-answers.
Yeah.
And tell me that I'm full of shit, that I'm not shadow banned when I can fucking see that I am.
Right.
And the gutter only charges but then you also, like, by shadow banning me, you prevent me from reaching new markets. You prevent me from reaching new customers.
Right.
So what's the point? Why am I on your platform? Guess what? I'm not on your platform anymore. I'm done.
Yeah, no, nowadays it seems like there's a lot of options. So if Indiegogo isn't bringing you anyone, then they can kind of go fuck themselves. Why don't you do multiple platforms? So I had
I do plan on doing multiple platforms.
Okay.
So here's the deal. I see people go out there and they launch campaigns across all the platforms at the same time. I don't think that is smart. It's no downgrade on them, but the way that I look at something,
you're saying they're stupid. Well, I got it. Continue.
I'm not saying that they're stupid. I am saying that the way I look at it is, when you go fishing, do you focus on one point, like a specific points in the pond that have the most bites, or do you try to throw a net over the entire thing and try and pull up all of it? You go and you focus on specific spots, because there are different markets. There are different audiences for each of these platforms, right?
Yeah.
So why are you trying to split and divide your attention across all these different markets at the same time, when it's way better, in my opinion, to target it and go and tackle it at each one of these things?
Okay.
So does that make sense? Exactly. Like, I'm just not.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole thing of, yeah, I'm going to get there. I am just not going to do it at the same time that I'm doing the Kickstarter. That means I'm competing with myself.
Right.
Like, what if I funded on one platform and I haven't funded on the other? Well, now I have all sorts of anxiety. And there are people that have had that problem where they'll fund on one platform and not the other.
Right. And you need to fund on one first and then almost treat it like your what do you call those goals that you reach?
Stretch goals.
Stretch goals. You almost treat it like a stretch goal when you go to the next platform, right?
Correct. Well, and that's what I did with the Embrace 2 is we have universal stretch goals. So everything that was unlocked on the Indiegogo applied to the Fund My Comic. Everything that was unlocked on the Fund My Comic applies to the Indiegogo. And when we get to Kickstarter, it will do the same. Everything that applies to that has already applied to the Fund My Comic and the Indiegogo will apply to the Kickstarter and vice versa.
Yeah. Am I still echoing? Wonder why I was echoing. That's not a very nice way to say it. Could put it in the private chat. I'm just saying it exists for a reason.
This is like, oh no, not anxiety. Look, man, I have enough that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. I don't need to add to it. Like more so, I would rather go about this and take it on in a way where I know I can handle it and I can focus it the best way that I can.
Right.
And that's just how I prefer to do it. And it's been successful so far, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to do it, man.
I'll just look, sending me Roman memes must be exhausting. That's just my therapy, man. That's catharsis.
You guys, nerds. All right, so you started using Webtoons. You chunked Elysian Fields on there, and
the original, yeah.
Yes, the original, and all of the sudden you started getting all these people, not only from Webtoons, but also IRL and on the social media saying, "Hey, Michael, what the fuck? When's the next book coming?" And you were like, "Fuck, are you talking about? I buried that bitch in the past, and I've been trying to forget about it." And now you got all the in-laws, the old ex-in-laws coming back saying, "Hey, man, why don't you go marry the lady you divorced again?" And you're like, "The fuck, man, I love." So tell me, is that basically how it felt for you?
Yeah, you know, when I initially got those messages from people, there was definitely a part of me that felt like, I don't want to say bitter, but like pretty fucking annoyed. I was like,
well, and you've had so many successes since then, right?
Like, well, I've had a lot of success since then, but not on Elysian Fields. Like, if you go look
at what I'm saying, like for you came back, you bounced back from that perceived failure, and it was in the past, and then everybody's like, "Hey, dude, we should do that again," and you're like, "No."
Okay.
And then Aldous was like, "Oh no, not anxiety."
But yeah, no, like it. Well, and that was the whole thing. Is I think that the moment that actually like really got me thinking, okay, well, maybe I should do this, because like getting a couple messages from people is one thing, right? Like it's like, okay, well, that's nice. I'm glad that you enjoyed Elysian Fields. It's dead and buried kind of deal. But then I think the real thing that got me to really consider it was, you know, I hadn't been on my Webtoon in like a year, maybe even 2.
Yeah.
And so like after getting those, like I think it was like 5 people who had messaged me. It was like in like quick succession too. Like two of them I had hung out with on a stream promoting the Embrace, or promoting Judex, actually, I think. And then a few of them were just like messages that I had gotten.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, whatever. But then I was like, you know what? Okay, well, this is like the fifth time that I've been asked about this recently. And so I went to my webtoon to see how it had done over there. And, you know, we had gotten comments on some great feedback on a couple of the chapters. But like the real thing that impressed me was we had 110 subscribers, over 4,000 reads, and an average rating of 9.78 out of 10. And this is with like the original art.
Yeah.
With the flat coloring and everything like that. And so I was just like, okay, well, clearly I have something here, but you know, it was a whole thing where I do think that I didn't want to go back to where I was for several reasons. One, the failures of Pyramid Gambit and everything like that were still very much are like a concern for me. But
What's
two,
up,
I've grown so much. What's up,
How
Kayla?
You doing?
But two, I developed so much as a creator. I'd learned so much as a writer. But more than that, I'd learned a lot as like from an art direction standpoint, from working with Neff and Kim when we were doing Judex. I learned so fucking much. And
You need to chill out, Raven.
You sound bored. Say it all again with some feeling. Yeah, fuck off. You're lucky I'm awake. Jesus.
It's good to see you, Kayla. I hope you're getting better.
Woo. Oh. But yeah, I felt like it was a thing where I needed to, if I was going to go at this again, I needed to start over. I needed to you know, the bones of the Zero issue I felt like I could work with, but like I needed to give everything an overhaul. From art to story, really just bring everything to it. If I was going to make this book, if I was going to go back to Elysian Fields, I needed to do it in a big way. Yeah. And that's what happened with Reborn.
That's awesome, man. Let me bring this to the stage, and we're going to go ahead and...
Oh, snap. We got even more backers while we were here.
Nice. I'm going to take credit for that. I'm taking credit. Let's go ahead and play this video. And hopefully the sound works. Dude, that's awesome.
And no, Snuggy's like, is it supposed to be choppy? No, like I think that's just a thing of when you're doing the share screen on StreamYard. Sometimes it works really well, other times it doesn't. But
Oh, was that coming choppy with you guys?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's horrible.
So, but like it's all good. It happens. I will say I need to like good stuff. Did such a fantastic job with that trailer. It's great. But yeah, like it's been a blast putting this book together and seeing it come together the way that it has. And it's very exciting. We're almost at 3,800. So thank you guys so much for the support.
We've had some stretch goals.
Yeah, man. So we've hit our first. We obviously hit our funding goal. So that's technically like the first stretch goal is hit funding. So everyone's getting books. But the first stretch goal is we're giving you guys a sticker of the hashtag hype guy. So in the trailer you saw that 2-page splash, a beautiful 2-page splash of Achilles riding his chariot. And there's a whole bunch of people cheering him on, and one of the guys that's cheering him is like so energetically hyped that we decided that we're gonna Where's Waldo him into every single one of these books. He is our official hype guy.
I was gonna ask. Hype guy sounds awesome.
So you can do you ride or drive a chariot? You can do both. You can ride in a chariot and you have a chariot driver, or you could be the chariot driver driving the chariot.
Yeah. Oh, Raiden, that's not nice.
T186.
Pulled up, but the Lollipop Gang is taking over.
T186. Oh, my fiance's in the chat. Hi, Miranda.
Oh, we've got Miranda here. You should have heard what we was talking about earlier. You can watch it on the replay. All right, so tell us a little bit about this particular chapter in the story. So book number 3.
So this is reboot. So like not even number 3. This is number 1.
Oh, okay.
So like I, as I said, I went back. The bones of the 0 issue are here. Like a lot of the structure, like the structure from the first part is similar, but like completely new story in tons of other ways, and like the entire second half of the book is completely different.
Nice.
The only thing that bears any real similarity is seeing Achilles die and go to the in his initial descent into the underworld. Like there's some similarities there, but like really it's a whole new book. Like I when I did the original 0 issue, the fight between him and King Memnon lasted for like 2 pages. That's the fight with Memnon and everything is the first 12 pages of the book now. Like we went and blew this thing up. Like there's a lot. So
some good artwork in this.
Dude, I am so happy with the art team that I was able to get for this book. They are incredibly professional, and man, does this book look pretty.
I don't see any furries. You didn't include furries historically?
No furries in this chapter now.
Huh. There's always next campaign.
Chapters. Might expand markets in later chapters.
Dude, that's so crazy that the whole story started with a bunch of nerds arguing which gods and mythical people would win these things. And you did Battle Royale before Battle Royale was the thing, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I like
It's
just
it's been such a blast to put together, and man,
that's I like that.
The way that these pages look printed, like these don't do them justice, and like it's really cool. So since one of the best parts about this is, and I did this very intentionally because since this is technically the third time that I'm funding Elysian Fields, I wanted people to know that they weren't funding the project. Like it wasn't like they were going to have to wait a long time or anything like that.
Yeah.
I went and I made sure that the book was done. And so earlier today on Twitter, I was very excited. The other day I got pictures from the printer because I ordered proofs to be made of the stretch goal cover upgrades. Because one of the things that I like to do is tchotchkes have been kind of overdone. I do have a few of them on this campaign just for some more stretch goal variety.
Yeah.
But the big thing that I've been doing since the Embrace 2 is I've been doing a lot of cover upgrades as stretch goals. And
Miranda, we're always talking furries up in here.
But anyways.
Sorry, I thought we were past the furries too. She brought it up. It wasn't me.
The chat's going off about it. But anyways, what was I saying? I was saying something. Oh yes, the printer sent me pictures of the cover upgrades. So when I did issue 0, our main cover upgrade, our main like stretch goal was once we funded, I turned everybody's books into lava holofoil. And
I'm sorry, man. It's not me. Pittsburgh has a big furry convention. I feel like we should go. I think that's some great content. I've never done any vlogging, but I'm open to try. But I don't want to go by myself because that's, it gets weird. Miranda knows what I'm talking about. So sorry. The holo cover was awesome. Right. Is this one getting one?
That's the main cover of the book will at 4K get a lava holofoil cover.
Oh,
at
nice.
5K, the V. Ken Marion cover will have a silver foil cover. And at 6K, the Hades homage cover will be getting a rainbow foil cover. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for the Von Randall cover. Mm-hmm. In terms of foil treatments, doing lava would probably be the best one, but I don't want to do that on 2 covers. So I'm trying to think of a cool cover upgrade to do for that one. It's gorgeous and it deserves something. But yeah.
Yeah, Kayla. If there was ever any question of whether or not I could survive as a brony, I went to God dang it, what was that called? What are those horses that they sell at Tractor Supply?
Oh, jeez.
Brand of toy horses. It is Breyer. I've been to Breyer Fest. Yes. Not a chance. I watched a horse girl put deodorant on her face. It's a really weird place. I went to the hotel where they sold stuff in their rooms. It was horrible, and I never ever want to go back. No, but my daughter wanted to go, and I said, obviously, we're going to Breyer Fest. We're going to go hang out with a bunch of horse chicks for days. Horrible.
Oh.
That's exactly how I felt. I am done with life. That's what you say when when you get out of a horse girl convention. That's I am not a brony for the last time. So, dude, we're getting so that we're almost guaranteed that 4,000, right?
Yeah, no, like it's right there. I think that we'll absolutely hit it. I think, and like what I will say is, we're in that kind of mid-campaign slump right now. We're still getting backers here and there, but like I also know that, especially since this is Kickstarter, a lot of people wait till that like final week, because they don't like it, because Kickstarter doesn't take the funds out immediately. They wait till the final week so that way they don't get hit with the surprise bill at the end of the campaign. It's like, why the fuck am I getting charged like $40?
Yeah.
What did I buy recently?
Well, another thing that I don't like about how it works, but I mean, I don't have a good solution for it, is maybe I want to buy the Mo Biggs Tears mug, but I'm going to have to go back once it becomes available, if it becomes available. So it's almost like you have a certain percentage of people who are going to wait to the end just to see what all they can buy.
Yeah.
Well,
and like that's a freaking all this. Is there a stretch goal for an ancient Greek canon cover? Oh goodness. Oh, you guys are too much. But like I like Kickstarter's thing. It's funny because when I first started, I was very much I wasn't going to use Kickstarter and this that, the other. Didn't have a particularly good experience over there. And now they've like upgraded their UI. It's very easy to use, and I really like it. I think that the only thing that I don't really like about it is still we don't collect your pledge until the end. Because they've provided fixes for pretty much everything else. Like you now have the ability to keep to allow people to continue to back the tier once the campaign is ended, and then it just becomes like an immediate transaction.
Right, and Aldous makes a very good point that he'd rather hold on to his money until the end of the campaign. But from Kickstarter's point of view, from a business perspective, why in God's name are they not holding that money? Why aren't they taking it immediately and just keeping it in the bank, making, you know what I'm saying?
No, I get it, and I don't have an answer for you. That's their business model. Right. And I think the big thing is to make sure that there are people that put their campaigns out there and they don't hit their funding goals. And so it becomes a whole thing of you don't want to get hit with a transfer back fee or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that could play into it. But I really think that if you're marketing it well and you're not being unrealistic about what your funding goal is, you should be able to fund. And I will see tons of projects where they'll put like 10, 15K stretch, like funding goals. And I'm like, you're not going to fund, like,
right. Because
like 9 times out of 10, I see this and it's some guy that it's like their first book. And I'm like, dude, nobody is going, like, everyone is going to see this. And it doesn't matter how gorgeous, like, that's ironically how I ended up finding this art team. They were on a book. I can't even remember what it was called, but the people that were running the campaign were like, they were looking for 10 grand as their funding goal. And I hadn't heard of any of those guys before.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you're not going to get funded. And it was tragic because the art was fucking on point. But
dang,
if you don't have an IP that is like a household name, or if you don't have some aspect of celebrity, like you're a comic book pro that has worked on some major like mainline books, and you have like an established base,
right?
You're not going to clear 10 grand on your first.
Sounds like a lot of people have learned that lesson.
Yes, and so like that's what it comes down to. Is it is a difficult thing, and I am I am at, almost 4K. I do think that there's a chance we clear the 5-figure barrier on this on the Kickstarter. My campaigns generally do between 10 and 15K. And as I said, once this is done, I'm probably going to be getting Fund My Comic together. I might even have Luke Stone do a variant, because Luke was actually a part of the original 0 issue of Elysian Fields. That would be a really cool thing to do. Have you tried selling crack? You probably, yes.
I've tried crack. I've never sold any, but
oh man,
Snuggy, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
so the logistics behind stretch goals is essentially you need to make X amount of money before you can even justify making the next thing, right?
yeah. So the way that I always look at stretch goals is that, like, you want them to be something that is relatively inexpensive, because you don't want to add too much to your overhead. The goal is to get you past what you need to get the book out to your customers,
right?
And get you more funds that you could, pay yourself with, or pay for the next book. And so, like, realistically, I would love, like, if I break 10K, next book is going straight into production. And we already have a little bit of a head start. I'd say about 10 pages of Elysian Fields Reborn issue 2 have been penciled.
Nice.
So, like, and that's no small thing. We also have, at the end of book 2, we have a character profile about Hippolyta, who's Queen of the Amazons, and we did a really fun character profile. We got this fantastic artist called Codicea that my lovely fiance found, and she did a beautiful test page for us, and I'm very excited about that. So like we have tons of things that we're going to be doing with the second book. I'm very excited about it. So yeah, I would love to make over 10K. And so that's what you do, is you use stretch goals as a way to incentivize hype and get people feeling excited and helping it push along, because then it rewards people. And, like, who doesn't want the opportunity to have their book upgraded from just like standard cover to get yourself a nice holofoil edition of the book? And that's the other thing, is that I only do that for the campaigns. Once the campaign is over, the print of the book, the normal print of the book, is just the normal print of the book.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that I love it. I love it. So what else does anybody need? Snuggy Jr., we know what crack you like, ass man. Plumbers. Eh? You know me well, Snuggy. So what else does anybody that is on the fence, anyone watching, the millions and millions who will watch this video,
Oh, I'm sure.
What do they need to know to get them over the edge to buy this book?
Well, first things
because
first.
they've listened to you for almost 2 hours now, and they think you're amazing. Like, you've sold them on who you are as a human. They know that you're just an amazing dude.
It's a fun story. There's tons of action in it, but it's got its own heart. But I think, especially in times like these, it's difficult to justify purchasing stuff when things can be so expensive. And so that's why it's incredibly affordable. Our physical tiers are $15, and that covers your digital edition and your physical edition of the book. Nice. You get both. And you're also able to, like, we have a big collector's box tier, which is awesome. But let's say you don't really want the collector's box and stuff. You can always but you want all the covers, you can go back, whichever cover, and then you can add on the rest. And you can do that for considerably less money. And I know Aldous demands a canon cover.
Maybe in book 2?
It would fit thematically. Oh,
Yes. Send Miranda a book. Go to Kickstarter. Get the book. Once it has been fulfilled,
she's already going to get like all of them.
once it
She
gets
spent
fulfilled,
so much money on this campaign.
just go ahead and hit Oden up on X. Ask him for the address of how to ship the book to Miranda. I think this is a genius plan.
I just want a standard cover with a cannon. You know what, Aldous? This is what I'm going to do. I am going to make sure that your copy is just a standard cover, and then I'm going to get a Post-it note or a postcard and draw a cannon and tape it to your main cover of the book and send it to you like that.
Yeah, you have to pay a lot of money to get your own variant cover.
So the story behind the cannon for everybody, for everybody who is curious, is when Ridley Scott was promoting Gladiator 2, he said that Denzel Washington's character, and this is not a paraphrase, this is a direct quote from the guy. He said that Denzel Washington's character was something of an was a former slave turned merchant, and he was an arms dealer. He sold the Roman army food and weapons, and then he specifically listed swords, armors, cannons, and siege weapons. And so Aldous and I went and lost our freaking minds on a stream talking about the possibility of Roman cannons in Gladiator and how much that would fuck up history. And we were so disappointed when cannons didn't actually show up, because that would have made the movie infinitely better.
Raiden, yeah, but how many Olive Gardens did they have? I mean, Raiden's asking the real tough questions. How many Olive Gardens did they have? Let's be honest, they had Carrabba's. That's the only real one.
Oden up to send Miranda a book. You do eat crayons. We've already established that you are a part of Uncle Sam's misguided children. But oh boy.
I can't even take credit for all of this. I have no control. Lollipop Gang is just going ham.
Oh, man.
She is fired. As soon as I figure out how to do that, she is fired. All right, man. So I've only got a couple things left for you. So I only had one bit of information from before you and I had decided to do this. I only had one bit of information on you. And man, I looked and I couldn't find anything. So apparently I was looking all in the wrong spots. Did you deliver for Domino's?
No. Okay. So this is part of the lore. I was on a stream. I think it was with
you should deliver for Domino's.
No, I was on a stream with Lola back in the day. And I was in like a blue, like a dark blue collared shirt, or like a dark blue shirt, and I was wearing my Captain America hat. But like they couldn't see like the top of it, so they just saw like the red bill and the blue top. And so people were like, did Oden just get done with like a domino shift? And so that is where the Domino's thing came from. Was it's been built into the lore. I worked at Domino's and subsidized my comic book career through OnlyFans. That was the joke during that stream. That was God. I think that was during SPQR's Bizarre Adventure. That was 3 years ago. Holy shit.
Yeah, because I have a Marco's pizza bag, but that's just part of my stripper outfit, special occasions.
Oh,
yes,
man.
buy Miranda a book. I don't understand why people don't understand what is going on here. All right, so last thing. This is a question. It's more about your future life.
Okay.
So you have a character that is just jumping around in your head trying to figure out time travel named
Janice.
Tell me about this because I'm very interested. I'm a huge sci-fi guy.
So do you know who Janice is?
No.
So Janus is a deity in Roman mythology, and he is the god of doorways. He's also a god of time and probability.
How in God's name have I never heard of Janus?
He's super fucking obscure. You actually probably have and don't realize it. He is also known as the two-faced god.
Probably learn about him in Latin class.
Like you've also probably seen imagery of him. If you've ever seen like an image of like two bearded faces looking in separate directions, but they're like the same. They're the same head.
Healthcare jokes are the funniest jokes.
Oh my god. But so I really liked this idea, and so I effectively like this character is kind of like if I were to compare him to any other characters in fiction, there's like a little bit of Deathstroke and a little bit of Ozymandias from The Watchmen.
Nice. So time travel makes tons of sense here.
Yeah. So like he is the head of this like big tech corporation. And he works as like a mercenary, as his fucking like thrill seeking. Like,
yeah, it's like a cooler Doctor Who.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like it's hard to explain on it. Like as I said, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But like I have these really cool ideas for his abilities. I remember.
I think so, Aldous.
Yeah. But I already have a character sheet that was done of him. He is going to be a badass thing to write. I have like the basics of my story like figured out for him, where it's like the first storyline is kind of the government trying to prevent him from figuring out time travel, and then he succeeds, and uses time travel to effectively become like the best mercenary out there. And then he gets tricked, he gets tricked into killing somebody that affects his existence. And so then he has to go back in time and stop himself from assassinating that person.
That makes sense.
So that's like the basics of the plot. Like I'm not going to go super far into it because it's still something that I'm figuring out, but like he's a very fun character. I have really cool things planned for his abilities. As I said, I really wanted him to be based around, like, I really liked the idea of him being based around Janus, who's this very obscure Roman god that is an authentically Roman god, and we also don't know a lot about. There's a lot of mysteries shrouding.
Was he in the movie Troy at all?
Those are Greeks. And I know exactly why you did that, you trolling son of a bitch.
That one was for Kayla.
Yeah, I'm sure. I fucking hate that movie. Oh man. The fact that I had to use Troy as a standard of how to do something right when I was comparing it to Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey the other day, like, genuinely made me upset. I was like, fuck you, Christopher Nolan, for having me do this, where I'm pointing out something that this movie did fucking right. You piece of shit. I was so mad.
It's so funny.
So fucking unbelievably angry.
Why would he not be in charge of the Jauntus Capital Management Group?
Oh man.
So if you need an editor on that story, please hit me up. I don't know what editing means, but I like to read stories.
I mean, at the very least, I can let you read a pass of the script once I've got something together.
Heck yeah. And then I'll give you all kind of pointers. Probably not good ones, because again, I don't know what an editor does, but and I can't spell. That's duh.
Yeah, that's fair.
I wouldn't have graduated last in my class if it hadn't been for a couple guys who didn't make it through the year. They were doing worse than me, but
Jesus fucking
but hey,
Christ.
we all made it here in life. Dude, it has been so super cool talking to you. I have had a blast, and I'm so sorry that I kept you up so late, but man,
dude, it was worth it. This was a great show. And I like it was honestly really cool in a way, getting to talk about everything from what I've done moving up. Like, as generally these streams are about an hour doing promotional on anything. So getting to actually go back and talk about how I got to where I am now, and not just like the highs, but like the lows.
And they're all part of the story. In fact, they're usually the bigger part of the stories.
Yeah. So it was genuinely just a really fun stream. I actually really appreciated coming on. This was great. I'm definitely
cool, man. Awesome. I would love to have you back. Tell everyone where they can find you and what you're doing.
So you can find me on Facebook, 9 Realms Publishing, Instagram, 9RP Comics, on Twitter if you want to see me throw bitch fits about Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, at Elysian Fields _0. And otherwise, please make sure that you check out Elysian Fields Reborn. It is on Kickstarter. We are less than $300 away from our second stretch goal, which upgrades the main cover of the book to a beautiful lava holofoil. And so, yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on. And thanks for everyone that's shown us support on Elysian Fields so far. And hopefully, if you're watching the replay, we'll see you on that list too.
You dag, I'm right. Could you read this for me real quick? The words are so huge.
Marines can't read. That's the best joke to ite.
Huh. Interesting.
I think that he meant it, but you know.
It's Aldous. Who knows what he meant? Probably some highfalutin thing I would never understand anyways. All right. Well, it has been awesome, chat. You have been amazing. People at home watching and, the lurkers, everybody. Awesome. Lollipop gang, say goodbye.
Bye.
Horrible acoustics in there.